Robert had a very small piece of land for cultivation. Once, there was a drought in his country. So, he had to leave the village in search of a living. Before leaving, he borrowed a dozen boiled eggs from a businessman and left the village with his donkey. 7 years later, Robert returned to his village as a rich businessman. Now he was on a horse, followed by some camels loaded with sacks of gold and silver. The news of his return as a rich man spread like a forest fire throughout the whole village. The person who had given eggs to Robert also heard this news. He immediately met him and said,
"Robert, you have earned a lot of money. Now pay me my debt. You borrowed a dozen eggs from me. So, you have to give me 500 gold coins now."
Robert was shocked to hear this. He said,
"You must be joking. Aren't you charging too much for 1 dozen eggs?"
"I am not joking. After 7 years, it costs so much,"
said the businessman. Robert said,
"Then please forgive me. I cannot give you that much money."
"Why won't you give me that money? I will take you to court,"
said the businessman. Then he went to court for justice. The judge fixed a date to listen to the matter. Both parties were asked to come on a particular date and time. On the day of the hearing, the businessman reached the court on time, but Robert was nowhere to be seen. About a quarter to half an hour later, Robert entered the court in haste. He also greeted the judge hastily and sat in his place. The judge asked him to begin the proceeding. At first, the businessman said,
"My lord, I asked Robert to give me 500 gold coins for a dozen eggs, which he had borrowed from me 7 years ago. I am asking him this much because those eggs must have hatched into little chicks. They would have been either hens or cocks. The hens would have further laid eggs, thus multiplying the chain. If I had those eggs, today my poultry farm would have multiplied."
"Yes, you are right,"
said the judge. Then he said,
"Robert, what do you have to say in your support? But first, tell me, why were you late today?"
Robert replied very coolly,
"Actually, at home, I have some boiled bean seeds. I got late as I was sowing them. I hope there will be good cultivation of beans next year."
"You fool!
said the judge amazingly.
Can a boiled bean ever be cultivated?"
"Why not, Your Honor? When boiled eggs can be hatched into hens and cocks, why not boiled beans be cultivated?"
replied Robert. The businessman hung his head in shame and tried to flee from there. Having listened to the whole story, the judge gave his judgment in favor of Robert. Hence, with his intelligence, Robert won the case.